Our reliance on China for rare earth minerals is not just an economic vulnerability, it's a looming national security threat. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, welcome to the Shermichael Singleton Show. I want to talk to you guys about an issue that is really, really important to me. It's something that I've been thinking a lot about lately as we try to decouple from China. We're still in this sort of tariff trade war with the Chinese right now. The impacts of this probably won't be good if we don't figure something out. But there's something even bigger to me that should be a part of everyone's minds. You're probably unaware of this. I want to talk about something that isn't trending on social media or dominating the headlines, but it really should be, because beneath the surface of our economy, our military, and our technology, there's a silent crisis building. And I'm serious about this, guys. One that, if left unaddressed, could cripple the United States in the next major geopolitical conflict. And for generations to come, it could really change the dynamics of the international rule of things, where the United States is no longer that dominant nation, but it could indeed be the Chinese. I know this may not sound like a real possibility, but it is. So let me get into what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about rare earth minerals. I mean, these things are the most strategically significant resources you've probably never heard about. So then what are they? Well, let me tell you. Rare earths are a group of 17 metallic elements that are really essential to nearly every aspect of modern life and modern warfare. Despite the name, they're not actually rare in the Earth's crust, but they're rarely found in high concentrations, which is why they're so difficult and costly to extract and refine. And that's where the challenge begins. These minerals power the guidance systems in our missiles, the radars in our fighter jets, ships, and the electric motors in our submarines. They're also crucial for smartphones, these little things we're so addicted to, wind turbines, electric vehicle batteries, semiconductors, and advanced medical technology. So if you're using basically anything smart, fast, and powerful, rare earths are likely behind it. That's why this is so important. In short, these minerals are the foundation of 21st century civilization and the cornerstone of 21st century warfare. Now, here's the problem. Over 70% of rare earth imports come from China. You heard it. 70% of these rare earth minerals that we need for our national security, for our energy needs, for our everyday needs, comes from our number one adversary, who's frankly trying to usurp our lead. Now, this doesn't make any sense. Why in the world should we be so reliant upon our greatest adversary for something that we need for our day-to-day? Again, to communicate, to move things forward in terms of new energy needs, to continue to advance our military prowess. All of that is relying on rare earth minerals. And we got to get it from China. It makes zero sense. This isn't just a market dynamic. It's literally about our strategic dependency on an authoritarian adversary with global ambitions and complete disregard for the rules of our international order that we set up about 100 years ago. So if tensions with China escalate into a conflict, which many defense officials actually believe is increasingly likely within the next 10 years, Beijing would not hesitate to impose a rare earth embargo. So basically, our ability to create new missiles for our fighter jets, for us to communicate, everything would come to a complete standstill. If that happens, the consequences will literally be devastating. It will stall weapons production, it would disable tech manufacturing, and literally paralyze supply chains, which would be a severe blow to the American economy, but also to our defense capabilities. If we found ourselves in a conflict with China, we got to get out of this. We have got to decouple. We cannot allow the backbone of our military and economic strength to be controlled by China. So the question becomes, and what do we do? What do we do? What should we do? Well, let's look at our own history. In the 1950s, President Dwight D. Eisenhower launched the National Highway System, not simply to connect cities, but to prepare the nation for war, to move troops, and fortify the American economy. It was infrastructure as it was also strategy. That's the mindset, in my opinion, guys, that we really need today. It's time for a rare earths industrial base initiative. That's what I'm calling it. REIBI, a rare earths industrial base initiative that is bold, that's multi-phase, national strategy to secure our supply, restore our manufacturing base, and reclaim American strategic autonomy. So here's the plan. I've laid out 5 steps that I want to offer to you guys to consider, and that I would frankly offer to the administration, President Trump, to consider these 5 steps to move our country forward. So let's look at step 1. I would advise the president to create a federally backed industrial strategy. We need to fund, coordinate, and fast track domestic mining, refining, and magnet production here in the U.S., not in 10 years, but right now. My second step will be to forge ally supply chains. We need to continue to deepen our rare earth trade partnerships with trusted mineral-rich allies like Australia, Canada. We just signed a minerals deal with Ukraine. And I would also look at parts of Africa like the Democratic Republic of Congo, where they have a lot of rare earth minerals as well. We could build up that relationship there. It would be good for their economy and also good for the United States. And again, all of these partnerships would create a resilient supply chains that insulates us from Chinese coercion. My third step would be to build industrial hubs. And this is where you start to create jobs. I would strategically locate U.S. manufacturing zones across the United States to develop and process rare earths, to fabricate magnets, and produce the components needed for defense, tech, and energy needs. Guys, we would create hundreds of thousands of jobs across America by doing this. My fourth step would be to invest in research and development, the good old R&D. You got to always invest in R&D, right? Because how else do you get to test things? Let's lead the world in finding substitutes for rare earths, developing cleaner refining methods, and creating new processing technologies. This is a race we can win through innovation. Step 5, establish a strategic rare earths reserve. Just as we have a strategic petroleum reserve to safeguard our energy supply, I think we need a national rare earth stockpile managed by the Department of Energy and coordinated with the Pentagon to withstand supply shocks. So if we were in that conflict with China that I mentioned a moment ago, and China said we're going to have a complete embargo on rare earths to the United States, okay, go right ahead, China. We don't care because we have a reserve and a stockpile to keep our defense needs moving forward, to keep our energy needs moving forward, and to keep creating these damn things that we all love so much. Now let's address the real question, though, because let's just say President Trump looks at Shermichael Singleton's 5-step plan. And the president said, you know what, Shermichael, I like this. I'm going to Congress. I'm going to address Congress and address the nation and say, let's move forward with the rare earths initiative-based, industrial-based initiative that I advise the president to do. Time is going to be our greatest obstacle. Building a full rare earth supply chain domestically, in my opinion, I could be wrong, under normal circumstances and conditions, I think it would take 7 to 15 years, more likely being on the higher end, that being 15. Permitting delays, regulatory slowdowns, interagency gridlocks. It's literally bureaucracy by design. It just takes time, often too much damn time. But in my opinion, guys, here's the truth. We don't have that kind of time. This is a national emergency and we need to act like it. So if I were managing this strategy and advising the president, here's how I think we should compress the timeline. I would use the Defense Production Act to prioritize rare earth projects, to fast track contracts and eliminate all red tape. I would create a national security fast lane for strategic mineral projects. I would accelerate environmental reviews, strict agency timelines, and you got to meet these timelines. And I would direct executive oversight, meaning the White House. The president would have direct oversight over all of this, not Congress, because it just takes too damn long. So the president would inform Congress, hey, these are how things are going. Congress would have oversight, but we cannot do things the way we used to do it as it pertains to this. I would fund immediate development to 3 to 5 large-scale domestic projects within 18 months. And then I would mobilize the National Guard and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to accelerate site development and early stage infrastructure. So let's get this building going. Let's get it going fast. I would form public-private consortia with guaranteed federal contracts. So if you're a big company or a small company, there will be funds available for everybody to jump on board because we have to move forward ASAP. Lower that investment risk and threshold and jumpstart production would really be the ultimate aims here, in my opinion. And with these emergency measures in place, we cut the timeline down, I would say, to 4 to 6 years with initial capacity online in just 24 to 36 months. That's moving fast. That's what we have to do. But again, none of this crap is possible without Congress. Congress must step up. They must appropriate the necessary funding. I think around 25 to 40 billion over that 4 to 6 years to secure the industrial base that underpins our national security. This is not a partisan luxury, ladies and gentlemen. This is a constitutional duty. So Congress would have to jump in there to give us the money to do this. We must recognize also that strategic independence isn't optional anymore. It's urgent. It's not about isolationism, as some people might call it. It's about decoupling from China and showcasing American resilience. It's about making sure our adversaries can't pull the plug on the American economy or the American military. It's about keeping us safe and employing Americans, and also partnering with our allies across the globe like Australia, Canada, Ukraine, and building further relationships with countries across the continent of Africa. We've done it before. We can build the arsenal of democracy again for the 21st century. We landed on the moon. We won the Cold War. And with the power of free minds, a free enterprise system, and decisive leadership, we can do it again. So in my opinion, guys, we don't have a lot of time to act. The time to act is now. Let's build the infrastructure. Let's build the alliances. Let's build the future with American hands, American ideas, and American resolve. The world is watching us. And our adversaries like China and Russia are calculating. They're waiting for us to falter. They're waiting for us to fall. So the question is, will we meet this moment or surrender to it? I'm not interested in surrendering. Never in the history of this country have we surrendered to anybody. We're not going to start now. I'm Shermichael Singleton. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about my rare earths industrial base initiative. Do you think it's possible? Would you like to see President Trump and the Trump administration and Republicans and Democrats in Congress adhere to my advice to move this ball forward? I think we should. I'm interested to hear what you think. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.